Hello and welcome to Beyond the Corporate Hangover with me, Emily Derschler. If you are a woman in your 30s or beyond and have left a lengthy spell in corporate to set up an online business and are feeling stuck, I'm here to help. In this podcast, we'll be digging into what it takes to go from employee to entrepreneur and build an amazing business that showcases your unique expertise. We'll look at the challenges women face, those limiting beliefs and behaviours from our corporate life that keep holding us back, and I'll provide practical ways to help you move forwards as a confident business owner. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, worried, or confused about how to make your business a success, and you want to shake off the corporate hangover, tune in every fortnight. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello and welcome to Beyond the Corporate Hangover. I'm delighted to welcome a very special guest onto the show today. Her name is Sam Caldecott. So firstly, hello Sam, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's my absolute pleasure. Now, Sam has a very real story to share today, but by way of introduction, I have a little spiel to tell you first about who Sam is and what she does. So here we go. Sam Caldecott is a mum of two SEN, special educational needs boys, where advocating, adapting and spinning multiple plates at once is part of everyday life. Alongside studying a degree in psychology, she is an integrator and operational partner who helps ambitious business owners turn the ideas and overwhelm in their heads into clear plans, practical systems, and action. Known for becoming part of her clients' teams, she's passionate about bringing calm to the chaos and helping people move forward with confidence. So if you would like to know more about Sam's work and how she may be able to help you, if you're at that messy middle stage in your business where maybe you've outgrown your current systems, or if you need more structure, then all the links you need are in the show notes. So do check her out. However, today we're not talking about work per se, but rather the reality of starting and building a business where, let's just say, real life is in the driving seat. Now, I talk a lot about the things we can do for ourselves, but sometimes it's not that easy because life can be hard and it can be gritty. And you, Sam, are a fantastic example of what can be achieved when life gets gritty and messy. So let's dive right in. Sam, I would
Yes.
love to start by asking you, what was happening in your life when you decided to start your business? Take us back to when it all started.
Okay, so we've kind of got two iterations of this because when I originally started as a VA about nearly 10 years ago, it was because I wanted to be at home for both my boys, have some flexibility. And so it kind of just blossomed from there. But in the past 2 years, it's gone through quite a bit of a change and I've had to kind of start again. So I'm going to talk about how that started again now because, as you said at the beginning, both my children are special educational needs. More so my youngest, who we got the diagnosis within about a year ago, and that has completely stopped us in our tracks. So this iteration, this new business has started from that need to support him.
Amazing. And I'd love to talk to you so much more about your boys and about those struggles, but we'll talk about how you went on to build your business, because having special educational needs boys, now I'm not even a mum, so I don't even know about raising children. So hands up, not got a clue about motherhood or anything that goes with it. But I imagine it's been quite challenging. So how did you go on to build your business while going through the challenges that life had thrown with you? Because starting is one thing. A lot of people can start. The starting is okay, but maintaining and growing is something else. So how did you do it?
Through a lot of determination and gin, I think.
Love that.
A lot of structure, a lot of being flexible, and also really learning what it is you wanted from my business, what I wanted to do out of joy, but also what I needed from a day-to-day basis. How much do I actually need to earn? What structure do I need in place to help me get there, but allow flexibility? And having a really good network of people around you, so that whenever anything felt like it was falling apart, I'd got somebody to talk to and I wasn't just shouting into the ether. But a lot of, creating foundations, I think. This is how I want to work, this is how it's going to work, and flexibility is a massive thing.
That's so important, because I think a lot of times the temptation is to just sort of go hell for leather and just do this and
Yeah,
just do that and try new things, and it's almost a bit like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. But
yeah,
having that attitude of, I need to be very sort of conscientious about what I need and how I want to approach it, and that very measured approach, I think, is so, so important. And it's often
absolutely.
so overlooked, especially when businesses are fairly young, I would say. It is sort of quite sporadic, and it can just be like, I'm just going to see what happens, I'm just going to try it all. But
Yes.
you found that actually being very careful and asking yourself those questions was really helpful.
Yeah, it's so easy to kind of take everything on all at once and go, I need to work, I need money coming in, I'll do that job, I'll do that job, I'll do that job, and actually find that, to your detriment, that it's taken a toll on your mental health, your physical health. You're not making the money in the way you want to. And you go into self-employment because you want to work for yourself and you want to create this business that works for you. So why are you taking everything on when just stop? Just
Yeah, no.
stop. Just take a breath and look at what it is that drove you to go into business in the first place, and hold on to that.
Right, absolutely. So, so very important. Oh, I could talk about that all day, but maybe we'll come back to that. We'll move on for now. And I'm sure you don't mind me saying that you have ADHD yourself.
Yes.
Um, how was your personal experience? But I suppose both in terms of your own ADHD and the ADHD that's in your family.
Mm.
How has that impacted your path through business ownership?
Quite heavily. Which is probably an understatement. From a personal point of view, it was kind of like, oh, this makes sense. This is absolutely makes sense. And it's helped me lean into my strengths. So anybody who has ADHD or has any kind of neurodivergence experiences it differently. So I can only talk from my own personal experience. And it showed me my strengths were, I can handle multiple things at once, ideas, conversations. I've had an ex-client call me her human handbag of ideas because she could just download everything to me and I would store it and deal with it and do my
I
thing.
love that.
And
That
spotting, yeah,
that is one hell of a handle. A human
it's just a
handbag of
handbag of
ideas.
ideas.
I mean,
But
genius.
it was a wonderful thing to be able to then build my business on that and go, actually, this is my strength. This is what I love to do. Let's lean into it. But on the flip side, the bad thing is not maybe the right thing to say, but the flip side of my ADHD and my experience is that at times myself and various members of family will find ourselves in what we call the big sit, where we'll just sit and we'll go, no, I can't do this. That
Mm.
task over there, I don't know, going out to the shops is too big for me. I can't do it. And you would just sit there and not, because there was all these ideas, all these things going on, and you just didn't know where to start. And so we learned quite quickly that the way to manage that was to break it into smaller steps. Well, okay, so we need to go to the shops. I'll tell you what we'll do first. Let's just go and put our shoes on. So we've put our shoes on. Tick. There we go. One small step. And then once you've done that little step, you can do the next one and the next one until the next thing you know, you're at the shop spending far too much money on Maltesers. But that kind of attitude and process again bled into my work life and into my clients, because it was like, okay, you've got this really big idea for an event. That's wonderful. It feels really big at the moment. So let's scale it back. Let's find one little step that will get you on that path to that event or whatever your big financial goal is. And it was a piece of work I'd done with a coach I'd worked with before called Dawn Owen, where she was saying these little steps will get you towards your goal. But don't forget, and this is another big thing, is to look at where you've come from. So it wasn't just, I'm nowhere near my big goal. Turn around, look and see how many of those smaller steps you've done to get you where you are now. So I think I'm chopping and changing.
Oh,
Another joy of ADHD is chopping and changing, but it's little steps. I think knowing how my ADHD stops me in my tracks and how to work around it has just been so beneficial for me and for my clients.
but you know what? This is the joy of these conversations, is that you know, you may feel like you're going off on a tangent, but actually what you've just said about the baby steps thing, this is so important for people who are listening now, most probably, because, and I actually mentioned this, and I think it's episode 4 of the podcast, where I'm talking about 3 habits for each day. And the third habit is to look for evidence of progress, because it's very easy for us to go, oh, I didn't do that, or I didn't finish that, or I've still got loads to do. And actually, when we reflect back on all the things we have done and all the things we have achieved, they all mount up and they all count, because they're all moving you towards something. So I absolutely agree with that piece. And especially when we're starting out in business and everything can feel so overwhelming and so insurmountable and like mountains everywhere. But, you know, scaling Everest starts with the first step, right? You can't get to the summit of anything without taking the smallest of steps to begin with, and celebrating those as well, because, you know, moving forward, no matter how small the step, or no matter how small you feel the step is, it's still an accomplishment. So, you know, we need to, I think generally we are sort of programmed to look at the negatives and look at the I didn't. But if we
Yeah,
can flip that and go, actually, I achieved that today. I did that. I moved forwards, and moving forwards is always better than standing still. So I
exactly.
absolutely, absolutely resonate with that, and totally love what you said. So thank you for sharing that. Um, I wanted to ask you also about values,
Mm,
because I know you're very values driven. And I wanted to ask you, you know, A, how important your personal values have been since setting up your business, and also how have you ensured that they've stayed consistently there as you've developed, I guess, both professionally and personally. So
mm.
they do kind of mix together, don't they, when you're a business owner? So how do you
Most
make sure that you're
definitely.
true to your values?
I think it's hard sometimes because, you know, we've spoken about already that when, especially when you first start, you're so keen to kind of go, oh, I'll do that work, I'll do that work, I'll do that work, and take on as much as you can because you think or feel that that's how you're going to progress in your business. My values now are so much stronger than what they were when I first started, because I was absolutely in that position where I was taking work on with clients who didn't fit my ideal client, that didn't necessarily fit with the flexibility that I need. And I would just take them on, and then it would get to a point where we were just like, oh, this isn't working, and we'd part ways. Now, I don't know whether, having been diagnosed as well and understanding how it affects me and my family, I've become very boundary driven. It took, to be perfectly honest, an almost burnout, fall over stage for me to go, actually, I really need to cement these boundaries in. I need to take a complete step back, look at my values, look at it, what I want to do, and make sure I'm sticking to them as we go forward. And it's not easy, because I'm a people pleaser. I want to work with anybody and everybody, but I know that's not going to stick with my values. That's not going to give me the flexibility. It's not going to give me my ideal clients. And I find that the more you stick to your values, the more you stick to your boundaries, the more how you talk to people, that comes out, and how in your marketing that comes out. And then actually you start attracting more of your ideal clients and people that will work with you how you want to work.
That's so
So
true.
it's not easy. There are days where you just go, oh, I'll just take this £45 million offer over here, even though it means months away from my children. But you just have to go, no, I've created this business for this purpose. I'm going to stick to my values. So yeah, it's hard at times, but
But
it's
you would
again,
still take the £45 million offer and be away from your children for months,
oh,
wouldn't you?
today, definitely.
Amazing. And again, that piece about boundary setting, which is something that I have always said is one of the first things that needs to be really deeply instilled in your brain, because the way you start and the way you agree with yourself how you're going to run your business is, like you say, it's what you carry forward into everything. And it's so much harder to build those boundaries once you've got the clients coming in and the expectations aren't quite set in stone and there's a lot of sort of moving pieces. And boundaries, values, being true to what you really want out of your business and doing
Yeah,
that from the get-go is I think a really brilliant foundation to
yeah,
start from. But you're right, it's never easy, and especially if perhaps money is a bit tight and you just think,
yeah,
oh, I could do with it, but this particular client, it just doesn't align with me. It's very hard to make that decision. But
yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of internal dialogue that goes on with that. So hey, no judgment here, because I think we've all taken on clients that perhaps weren't the best fit, but
Yes,
it happens, and we learn from it and we move on, and that's part of the parcel of being a business owner, right? We're always learning,
absolutely.
always learning. That's brilliant, Sam. And I just have one more question for you, really, and that is some advice from you. So what advice would you give to a woman who's started out in their own business, who is perhaps feeling lost or overwhelmed or struggling to adjust to life outside of the corporate world? What would you say to that woman to help her?
Um, one of the first things would be to, and it always sounds very cheesy, but is to find your tribe. There are a lot of people out there in the freelance world who feel very alone, especially when they're just starting out. And actually, there are a lot of people who are in the same position as you. So I'm part of the Athena Network in Warwickshire. And that is a very supportive group of people because even if they're not going through it themselves at the moment, they probably have done, and they will give you support and someone to talk to. We both part of the Holt, and we know what a supportive place that can be. Find these people that align with your values and are there to support you just as you would support them. So another person I work with is Claire Lockie, and she does exactly that for me. She is the person who gets WhatsApps from me at probably 3 o'clock in the morning going, nah, things aren't working. What have I done? And she will talk to me and either tell me to shut up or give me some sage advice. And
Not at 3 o'clock
also,
in the morning,
no,
presumably.
no. She has me on mute a lot, believe me. And also to be true to yourself. I think when I first started, like I said before, I would take on whatever work I could. And it's the cliche, I wish I'd known then what I know now. And that is to be true to yourself. You've become self-employed for a reason. You want your business to be what it is for a reason, and to hold true to that, hold true to yourself.
Yes.
So yeah, tribe and be true to yourself. They're
Awesome.
the two bits that I would definitely throw their way.
Brilliant. And, so almost simple when you say them out loud, but so important. And I absolutely agree. It can be a very lonely world, being an entrepreneur. Sometimes you feel like you're the only one who's going through this, or you're the only one who's experiencing that, and nobody else will understand because everybody
Mm.
else is in corporate and it's a whole different life. But
Yeah,
there are so many entrepreneurs out there, and I know as well. I'm a member of communities myself, and my gosh, they're so brilliant to be a part of. So I
absolutely.
absolutely agree with you. That is so brilliant. And I've also linked to the groups that you mentioned. and one that's worked well for me as well. So they are in the show notes as well. So lots of links for listeners to check out today, which is amazing.
Yes.
We love it. So yeah, lots of opportunities to research both about Sam and about the communities that we both really admire and are a
Good.
part of, and have a great result with as well. Really important.
Don't get me
Go
wrong,
for it.
there are times where you might part of a community and you're looking around going, "I don't think I should be here." It can take a little while to find that tribe, but it's a wonderful thing when you find them.
It's worth it. Absolutely agree. No,
Definitely.
really good reminder. Thank you. Sam, thank you so much for coming on today and for sharing your story
Very
so
welcome.
honestly. I think it is good for us to be reminded sometimes that, while juggling a business and a family and other personal circumstances can be really, really challenging, it can be done. And
Brilliant.
it's about doing it in a way that works for you, because there is no rule book, right? There's no right or wrong
Exactly.
way. There is just your way. Life is messy. And I think the really important thing to note is that life is messy and business is messy too. And let's remember that. Let's embrace it. Let's be messy business owners. Let's be human business owners. And let's just make sure that shines through in the work that we do with our clients. So thank you again, Sam. It's been such a joy to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for letting me babble at you.
Oh gosh, anytime. You're welcome back. You are welcome back. And thank you for listening. And I will see you next time. Bye for now.